I also thought that would make it better. Hey everybody, I'm Beebs Kelley. Welcome back to another video. Thank you so much for being here with me today. If you guessed from the thumbnail, this fashion edition is all about black dresses. But the little black dress has become such a staple in everybody's wardrobe, and it's such a go-to for so many, which makes it all the more impactful when a black dress becomes truly iconic. In today's video, we are covering 5 of the worst black dresses I have ever seen. They are true disasters. But we're also covering a few of the most famous black dresses. And one of those most famous black dresses comes from a true and actual fashion icon of her time. Princess Diana wore this off-the-shoulder silk dress with an asymmetrical hemline and chiffon train in June 1994. This was the same evening that Charles had a documentary air where he discussed infidelity and the breakdown of their marriage and stuff like that, so it was dubbed the revenge dress. Diana was making a statement that was interpreted many different ways. You leave it in the comments what you think she was doing with this black dress, but she's no stranger to sending a message with her clothing, which is one of the things that people really remember her for, and I have a video dedicated to this discussion coming up, so you won't want to miss that. But this particular fashion moment, what was her intention, do you think? Was it a look what you're missing, empowerment? Was it showing how unbothered she was by what she knew was happening and what everybody was talking about? Was it brilliant media chess, trying to take some of those headlines away from the embarrassing and likely painful revelations that were now circulating in the media everywhere? Things that many people had an idea that was going on, but were not yet confirmed until that documentary aired. While we won't ever know her motivations, it was a powerful statement. As for the dress itself, it's very beautiful. It's clearly beautifully made. My least favorite part about it is that asymmetrical hemline, just because it's such a small location of the dress and such a small amount of asymmetry that I feel like it didn't look as intentional. It almost looked like it was just riding up on one side. I'm sure it didn't in person because the black color made it hard for it to get photographed properly to show all the details of the dress. But that was one critique I could say about this dress. It would be that that asymmetrical hemline should have been a little bit more intentional in its appearance. But it's a spectacular dress. She looks spectacular in it, and my favorite thing is this choker that she decided to pair with it. It really needed a big necklace because she wore black tights, so this exposed shoulder and décolletage was kind of needing that balance, and the choker necklace really checked it into balance. Now we're gonna circle back around to some really beautiful black dresses here in just a moment, and some iconic ones at that. But let's take a look at this list of 5 of the worst black dresses ever to be made, worn, or seen. Here at number 5 we have Tilda Swinton. Now she has a very unique aesthetic. She has a rather androgynous style at times, but this particular dress, I was a little surprised. It kept coming up on worst dress lists, but I actually think it aged much better. The worst part of it is this cuff. It's not tied in any way. It looks really tacky and kind of cheap, the cuff on her wrist there, but the rest of the dress is actually made in a really rather flattering way for her because she has the height to pull off this really dramatic draping. She's not overwhelmed by the amount of fabric here. It is an understated look in a way, and I understand why people didn't like it, but I honestly think that this one is way, way worse. It's got all this gathering in fabric in this sort of twist design right in the lower belly area here at the center, and it just widens her really, really dramatically. So in my book, this one's much more unflattering than the other one. I mean, for all I know, she could be pregnant in this, but even if so, that's a bad design for a maternity dress if she is pregnant in this look. So it's just not a very flattering dress no matter what. It also hits her right at the knee, which it's not a good idea to have a hemline right at a joint if you can help it. So I greatly prefer the velvet drapey one to this. What do you guys think? Another woman who suffered from an outfit that didn't look intentional enough to be interpreted well was Anne-Sophie Bion. She wore what looked like a trash bag, unfortunately, and that is all the press ran with. Every single article was calling this a trash bag dress, and it literally does kind of look like one. It's wrinkly, it is plastic looking, but all the information I could find, I researched this for a ridiculous amount of time, was that it was an eco-friendly, eco-inspired dress. Whatever that means, there was no detail on what material was used to make it, if it was recycled material, if it really was trash bag material, or it was just made to look that way. I don't know. But again, it has to be intentional to the eye for it to actually translate well and be successful. Here we cannot tell if it is meant to just look like a trash bag and represent one, or if it's actually made of such a material or not, or if this was just not the actual effect they were going for. We have no idea because there's no info about it, and the design is not intentional enough to guide us to that conclusion on its own, which it always should be. The silhouette overall is pretty nice though, and I mean I like the dress shape and the idea of the dress overall. Her styling fortunately worked well in terms of her hair and makeup looking nice for this, so she's spared from being at the top and the absolute worst slot here on this list, but because we cannot tell if it's meant to actually look like a trash bag or not, it made it to number 4. Third worst on this list is this black ruffled Gucci dress that was just ginormous on Billie Eilish. This just made her look so much bigger than she really is. And I feel bad because she has been open about not feeling super confident wearing certain things, or she avoided wearing like figure hugging stuff for a long time. She is a little curvier and stuff like that. So I think, you know, I feel bad saying that this didn't do her any favors because she's struggled with finding stuff that she feels confident wearing. But when you're busty, if you add a lot of volume to the shoulder and chest area, you're just gonna look wider and heavier and bigger than you really are. So all that volume up here just really exaggerated that aspect of her natural silhouette and shape rather than complement it in any way. Because there's also no break. There's nothing dividing up the shape of the dress at all. It's just lots and lots of ruffles and fabric everywhere. And while certain elements of this dress do look really, really nice and beautiful, it's just a lot. It's a lot of fabric. It overwhelms her a lot, and it just doesn't look as elegant as I think they intended it to, especially along the top of the dress here that goes across this way. The edges of it and the ruffling of it, it just looks a little messy at times, and it just didn't translate as nicely as I think they had hoped. I could see this dress being very, very flattering on somebody who lacks a lot of curve because it gives the illusion that you have more curve beneath those ruffles. So in terms of that, it just wasn't a great match for her body type. A huge improvement that would have really helped this look be pulled off a little better would have been some sort of a lifted hairstyle to help elongate her a little bit up and out of this dress and give some sort of other interest, focal point, or height to her besides just the dress. Maybe even like a sparkly choker and a really, really high top knot bun like right on top of her head would have really given another focal point besides just the dress itself, which kind of gave this almost drooping and just really very heavy visual effect. Okay, coming in at number 2, one of the most ridiculous dresses I think I've ever seen. I mean, what is happening? This is BB Rexa, and this from the front doesn't look so bad, huh? You just wait. She put a tail on her dress. And what would make a tail on a dress even better? A couple of big circular cutouts on the top of your butt cheeks, of course. Not ever in a million years. Neither of those things should be done on their own. You should never put 2 big circle cutouts on top of your butt cheeks or anywhere on your butt cheeks for a dress. And you should never put a tail on your dress. You should never do those things together either. I can't believe it needs to be said, but here we are. It's a terrible idea, and I'm wondering not only what she was thinking, but what are the people who made this, styled her, put the look together, did her hair, did her makeup, did her jewelry, all these things. What were they all thinking? This collective group of people were all like, yes, butt cutouts and a tail, yes, winning. What were they thinking? I can't even with it because it's so absurd. If the back had been a normal dress, then the focal point would have been the Madonna boobs, and a high ponytail would have been the best styling approach rather than the down hair. It just kind of overwhelmed her a little bit, and it wasn't as flattering. I think if she would have had a high ponytail and let the back be normal, it would have been okay. But, you know, like, here's a good example. Angelina Jolie pulled off a leather-esque dress really nicely here. Notice no tail. With a fabric like this, you really don't need to overdo it. The fabric, the like leather or faux leather, whichever it is, doesn't matter. With a fabric like this, you don't need to go over the top and overdo it. You just really don't. At all. It's already enough interest and weight. It's already heavy. It's already intense. It's already a lot. So keep everything else minimalistic and you're good to go. It's a statement in and of itself, similar to red dresses. And here we have arrived to the #1 absolute worst black dress I think I've ever seen. This one is so strange and awkward, and I'm talking about the dress. There's too much going on here, and it is not cohesive, not even a little bit. It looks like her arm is tied to this waistband ribbon. It looks like the waistband ribbon thing is coming out of this giant sleeve. What else is in that sleeve? Who knows? It's weird, it's creepy, and I don't know what's happening with that spike down in the front. Very poor placement, just awful. And it's askew. It's not like they were trying to create almost like a faux cutout type situation for her legs, like the way a slit might have, where it has that center panel come down between the legs. It's not like that, because it's like at a weird angle and at a weird shape. There's so many things about this dress that are wrong. What is the goal? What was the vision? What happened? It looks bad. Overall, this whole look is rather ugly and uncomfortable for me. The extreme side part, this, I don't know what the heck's coming out of the back of her head, but it's weird. Again, you can't tell if what's coming out of the back of her head is intentional, like on purpose, supposed to match the lighter of the black fabrics there that makes up her poof sleeve. Is it supposed to be a flower? Is it supposed to be a feather? What is that back there in her hair? Nobody knows. That's the problem with a poor design. Nobody knows what's happening, including me. This whole look overall, I hate to say it, it's rather ugly. This is St. Vincent, for those of you who don't know, and she's known for making avant-garde choices. But this isn't even that, because there's nothing about it that sends a message or is interesting or makes sense or that you could look at and think about, because you don't know where to look at. You don't know if you're supposed to be looking at the giant shoulder or the weird thing in her hair or the weird bow or the weird spike at the bottom of her crotch. I mean, what are you supposed to look at? We don't know. So that prevents us from contemplating the look in any sort of a meaningful way. For it to be considered an interesting avant-garde look, you do have to have some point of interest that somebody can resonate on and sit with for a minute and think about how it complements the look, or its contrast, or its beauty, or its construction, or its material. Like, it doesn't give us anything to work with because all of it is weird and chaotic. This is a moment where editing and vision needed to happen. There needed to be a clear vision and purpose for the elements of this dress and some sort of cohesion to pull it together, and having a good, strong editing process probably would have helped those things out, but we didn't have any of that. Nothing came together, and we are left with a scattered tragedy of a mess. But never fear, it's time to shake it off. Let's take a look at 3 more of the most iconic and famous and beautiful black dresses. This moment is so incredibly famous. This Atelier Versace look for Angelina Jolie was so perfect in every way. Each element of this look are supreme. Her styling, her confidence, and her wearing it, the fit and all of that, like her in this dress and the dress itself, are all perfect. They all complement each other, and it gives you this glamorous finish that is not only a beautifully stunning picture and gown, but a study in perfect fashion harmony. This is what success looks like when it comes to an outfit or a look or dressing oneself. You don't have to go over the top and embellish the garment within an inch of its life, nor do you have to make insane silhouette choices paired up with crazy amounts of fabric or anything like that. This is a perfect example of how to make a statement the right way. The soft hair reflects the beautiful flowiness and drapiness of the fabric of the dress. Just absolutely echoes it gorgeously. The diamond earrings and red lip brought a needed pop without overdoing it or throwing itself into competition with the dress and its drama either. The black color allowed for the drama of that silhouette and that high slit. The sheer volume of the dress itself made this statement, and her confidence complemented the entire style moment, creating this iconic picture. It is a beautifully composed look right here, and she was actually going to wear something else, but she changed her mind last minute to this, and it was like perfection. This is where following your gut instinct or just going for the thing that you like more or that feels less fussy, for example, ends up giving you a huge win. And that's exactly what happened here. She has a great eye for things that are going to look good on her and how to carry herself well in these sorts of items, but she's also not overly fussy or over the top about stuff. She doesn't seem to overdo her styling like ever. She's never the person who's going to have too much jewelry on or too much makeup on. So that's a really good skill to have, to know when to scale it back, because it's really easy to get into the pattern of more is more, but it's not. The types of looks that become iconic and classic and are like stunning moments undeniably in everybody's book are moments like these, where you're not over the top or super zany or trying to make some sort of extreme grand statement with something. You're just doing it right and doing it well. Well, we cannot have a black dress day without mentioning Catherine the Princess of Wales and the day that Tom Cruise fell in love again. Just kidding. At the Top Gun premiere in London in a Roland Mouret gown, Princess Kate, as the media loves to call her, left behind the sequins and glitz. There were no fussy embellishments in sight, not even an overwhelming amount of jewelry or accessories. Instead, she had this sleek column gown, complete with a high contrast white off-the-shoulder band, and it is so form-fitting and fresh for her. It is just a perfect choice here. I mean, it looked spectacular on her. Amazing. Its simplicity is what made the statement here. And it perfectly complemented William's tux as well. Her earrings do not compete with the look in any way, shape, or form, and they don't distract from it either. It allows you to really focus in on that high contrast, her overall silhouette, and of course her face, which is a wonderful thing here, that the white band across here just kind of leads you up to her face really nicely, which is always gorgeous and beautiful. Her hair back like this, it matches the vibe of this dress. Just simple, sleek, and back and away, you know, just like not fussy or over the top at all, but it still didn't look predictable. It still wasn't like too matchy-matchy. It was just a nice modern aesthetic that was very, very beautiful and a little bit unexpected for her. Next we have Zendaya in this beautiful big ball gown that was just absolutely gorgeous. It has a little bit of a peplum and it's got this huge big full skirt, a little bit of a train, and it really balances out her figure nicely. She's got slightly broader shoulders as well, but she's like really tall. She's got a nice long torso. So different than Megan in that she's got a lot of length to her torso, but similar in that they both have wide shoulders. So the peplum was a nice approach, but something about this look overall just felt a little bit old for her, maybe a little bit stuffy in a way. Not like fully, just a tad. I don't know. I mean, that's more on the topic of if it was well suited to her aesthetic and taste itself versus whether it was a good dress for her. And it was a good dress for her. The dress itself is beautiful and beautiful on her and gives great balance to her. It just wasn't necessarily my favorite black dress that Zendaya ever wore, but this one might be. This one is so gorgeous and the styling is so perfect. She has her hair sleek and back, so it's not in competition with anything about the look at all, but she has this finger wave to it, which evokes this old Hollywood glamour feel. And then that mermaid flare at the bottom just offers great balance here, and this off the shoulder velvet gown just lend a dramatic flair and create this gorgeous silhouette for her. I absolutely love this look for her. It is absolutely stunning. Both of these looks are gorgeous for her. Which one do you like most? Please leave it in the comments and let me know, and I'll try to make a poll for it too. Obviously, there are a ton more black dress fails and a lot more beautiful, iconic black dresses to go through. So if you guys want to see more, then be sure to leave it in the comments and let me know, and click the like button so I know you enjoyed this video, only if you did. But next Friday, we're going to be taking a look at some Remembrance Day looks. So be sure to subscribe so you don't miss that, because there are some really good ones and a handful of doozies. Thank you so much for being here with me. Be sure to check the products tab for today's looks, but keep in mind, I think that it's only showing up for US viewers at this time, so I'll try to link a few things in the description box as well. So thank you so much again for being here with me. I hope you have a very happy day ahead, and I will see you next time. Bye!